Welcome to the AI Chat Podcast. I'm your host, Jaden Schaefer. Today on the podcast, I have the pleasure of being joined by Alexandru Roman, who is the Principal Product Manager at UiPath. He uses his strong engineering background to essentially impact the product roadmap and guide successful launches. His specialty is transforming complex technologies into accessible tools, with a particular emphasis on integrating generative AI to enhance automation experiences. Super excited to have you on the show today. Welcome to AI Chat, Alexandru.
Thank you, Jaden. Glad to be here. Hello, everyone.
Yeah. Like I mentioned, really excited to have you on. What I wanted to kick this off with is if you can give us a little bit about your background and your journey. What kind of brought you to being, an engineer, a principal product manager at UiPath? Tell us a little bit about your background.
So I started by studying computer science. I have a major in computer science. It was like 2010, so a long time ago. And then I got an early job in an outsourcing company, and I got the chance to travel to the US, to the Silicon Valley area. And I somehow got bugged with the startup culture. And a few years later, I learned about a Romanian startup that they are going to become a next unicorn and all the bells and whistles. And I said, okay, I should try that. I went to some interviews. I met some very nice and some cool people from my current company, basically. And from there, I turned into product management as a way to build product for our customers.
Have you ever wanted to start your own podcast? I record and publish podcasts on a platform called Spotify for Podcasters, and I absolutely love it. Essentially, you can upload from your phone or computer, and it distributes to every platform that plays podcasts. They support video podcasts, and you can make money on the platform with ads or even podcast subscriptions, something that has made my life so much easier as a podcaster. So if you're interested, I highly recommend you give it a try. You can download the Spotify for Podcast app, or go to spotify.com/podcasters to get started on your podcast today.
A Netflix original film.
The Wi-Fi isn't working.
In the event of a global communications breakdown, do the following. Stay inside.
What just happened here is happening everywhere.
Avoid strangers.
We've all been deserted.
I don't trust them.
And most importantly, do not panic. Julia Roberts.
What happens next?
Mahershala Ali.
I knew something was coming.
Leave the World Behind. Rated R. Now playing only on Netflix.
That's very cool. Was that part of like your decision-making factor there was like, oh, look, there's this, because obviously UiPath is like an incredibly successful company. But like, was it like, oh, this is cool. It's like, not only is this an incredibly successful company, but it's also in Romania, and you could, because I believe, do you live back in Romania now, or are you still in the US?
Yes, I live in Romania. And back then in 2018, when I joined the company, it wasn't that successful yet. It was early.
You're the reason, of course. You brought it the success.
Thank you for that. Now, it wasn't just me. It's a great culture in there and a lot of good people. But I was attracted about being at an early stage startup and to get on board on an exciting ride, basically.
That's very cool. Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure it has been that. For the listener, I'm wondering if you could briefly kind of explain what exactly UiPath does so people have a kind of a good understanding of that.
So UiPath is an automation company that basically has all the tools from the lifetime of an automation, from discovering the processes in your enterprise company, from implementing them, from deploying, and then to monitoring and assessing the impact and understanding the return of your investment, basically. So we provide a platform with all the tools that an enterprise company would need, basically.
Okay. Yeah. And of course, UiPath is, as we mentioned, it's very successful today. Tell me, what I would be curious to know is, what are some of the hardest challenges that you face in working on UiPath? What are some of the biggest challenges that you personally, and then also as like a company, you guys are facing in this space today, and specifically with kind of everything that's happening in AI?
Yeah. So we feel like AI can be an accelerator and uh, gasoline to your automation processes. Just because AI by itself is not gonna help a lot. Just because it's like a big brain or a central brain. But to really get most out of it, you will need to feed it with data, to connect it to your existing systems or to your even legacy applications. And we believe that our tool can be the body that connects all the data sources or all the feeds to AI, even apply our own models or even your own models or even the public ones, and then to apply the outcome of the AI.
That's amazing. Yeah, and I think there's so much potential there. What do you see as kind of the key areas that you think you will, like the company, maybe it's not doing today, but you think it will go in that direction? What's the evolution of UiPath look like? What are some things that you're excited for kind of on the horizon?
So even from the start, from the beginning of my journey with UiPath, I was into making the automation more accessible to everybody and how to lower the entry barrier. Because until UiPath, you had to be a skilled programmer. You had to understand the life cycle, the software developers in general. We introduced the low code, no code tools that can help you build from without having a lot of coding experience. But we think the large language models and AI in general can even improve this, more. Just because we imagine a world where you will describe what you want to do or what your process is, and we can build automation for you. So basically, anyone from the enterprise world could build this automation that can help your processes, make them faster and better.
That's so exciting. I think, a really big part of your mission from what I've seen over at UiPath is really to kind of democratize the use of generative AI for all of your vendors. What I'm wondering from you is, how are you ensuring that these tools are not only accessible, but also secure for businesses to integrate?
Yeah, that's one of the things we are proud of. We try to bring something that we call AI trust layer that basically sits in the middle between your data and the AI models, that can ensure that governance is in place, that your data it's not leaving your site, and that only the data you want, like a guard between the outside world and the enterprise world.
Yeah, I think that's so important today. When talking about, like, you mentioned earlier a little bit about how AI and these LLMs and whatnot are being kind of integrated into these automations and some of the potential there. I'm wondering if you could share like an example, like a real world use case of someone using UiPath and integrating AI into kind of one of their automations and maybe, a success story from that.
Yeah, we have a lot of big customers. I'm not gonna share exact names, but
Yeah, no worries.
But for example, we have a big vendor from the photography world, one of the big hardware manufacturers, who is using our AI models to do document understanding, which is a solution for intelligent document processing. Basically, it takes all the invoices, all the contracts that are incoming to the company, and using the AI specialized models, it's gonna extract all the relevant information from there, and then input to the target system. So basically, instead of doing the manual and tedious that data picking from invoices, you can have AI do that for you, and you can do that in an automated manner.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. That's the sound of switching your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling. Harness the best converting checkout and same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Stop leaving sales on the table. Discover why millions trust Shopify to build, grow, and run their business. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech23.
This episode is brought to you by Klaviyo, the platform that powers smarter digital relationships. With Klaviyo, you can activate all your customer data in real time, connect seamlessly with your customers across all channels, guide your marketing strategy with AI-powered insights, recommendations, and automated assistance, deliver experiences that feel individually designed at scale, and grow your business faster. Power smarter digital relationships with Klaviyo. Learn more at klaviyo.com/Spotify. That's KLAVIYO.com/Spotify.
Very fascinating. That's got to save a ton of time and be super, super useful. So that's amazing. With all of this advancement that we're seeing in AI today and the way everything is changing, inevitably, some people are going to be getting things wrong. I'm wondering, what are some misconceptions you think that people might have about automation and AI? And I guess what are some misconceptions people have, and how do we kind of clear those up?
So I would say the biggest and the most common thing I hear is that people are afraid that they will be replaced by computers, by AI, and that they are going to lose their jobs. And I want to make sure everybody is aware that AI is not here to replace us. It's here to assist us. And even automation is here to augment our day-to-day tasks and remove the mundane ones. I don't know, imagine 200 years ago when the steam engine was invented. Some workers, they had to do some more interesting thing. Like instead of doing the agricultural work, they could become a tractor driver or a businessman or some more skilled jobs. So basically, I think AI will just help us advance to the next level, not necessarily replace us.
Yeah, and I think you're probably like right at the forefront there, seeing, with UiPath and everything you guys are doing with automation side businesses, like you're seeing how valuable these automations are and how much AI is able to accomplish. So I think that's a great insight from yourself. Something I'd love to ask you about is like, for companies and enterprises looking to implement these, how do you think they should approach like the implementation of automations and AI into their businesses? What are some key things they should be thinking about?
So what I recommend to every customer I talk to is just don't do AI for the sake of AI. I know it's cool, you want to do AI, but first you need to identify the process, to maybe fix the process, and then think about automating it. And then when you start to understand how to automate it, there will be sections where you need to bring AI. So my advice is do AI when you really need AI, not just to have a checkbox or to do a nice conference where when you're gonna say, oh yes, we implemented AI.
Yeah, no, I think that's great advice. That's definitely something that you see all the time. Sometimes you see a company come out with an AI feature, an AI tool, and you're like, this has nothing to do with your business. Was this really necessary? But they're like, but it's cool.
Yep.
So yeah, and I think, really doubling down on what the business does well and making sure that the AI tools are like, there's so many ways that AI 100% is going to automate and help your company and anyone's company. So like find those very valuable use cases. That's definitely the area to focus on. The same like line of thinking with this, I'm wondering, what's a piece of advice you could give to individuals that are getting started in this world of AI and using it? Maybe they work at a company and they're looking at how to implement it. Maybe they're, trying to get into the field like you are in kind of the development of it. What's some advice that you could give them?
So I can share a bit of my personal experiences. I first time I heard about AI, I think it was during my college degree. But then for a few years, I said, okay, that's something fancy that it was invented 20 years ago, but it never took off. But probably 5 or 6 years ago, with the transformers models, with the large language models, that GPT-4 or GPT 3.5 was just the one that got very popular. But the technology is here for the last few 5-6 years. And for myself, I tried to stay ahead of the technology curve and try to see what's trending and play with it. So I'm not surprised. We even before the GPT, the ChatGPT revolution, there were models available that one could play with, see what the technology is capable of, and try to predict where the technology is gonna be in 2 years, 3 years from now, and invest in those skills basically.
Yeah, I think that's so important, and kind of really, like, there's so many things that are shifting today. And really looking, one thing that I've seen a lot of people talk about is, the companies and the technologies where a lot of money is being invested into, like, definitely keep an eye on those areas, because that's like largely the money will shape a lot of the landscape and where things are going. Keep an eye on the regulation, keep an eye on all of this, so that you're, like you said, you're not surprised when something new comes down the pipe. So I absolutely love that. Alexandru, as we're wrapping up this interview today, the last thing I really want to ask you about is, if you could make a prediction on something you think that will change with AI over the next 3 years, like what is the landscape? What does AI and automation look like? What are some predictions that you have about some, interesting things we're going to be seeing over the next 3 years in this space?
So I think we will go beyond this generative stuff where we just create more content, more videos, more audio, or more text. I think we will go to a next phase where we will have these big AI models doing tasks for us, like summarizing big chunk of documents, or summarizing. Let's say you work in a patent office, and you could search in all of them in seconds just by having all the data ingested by a large model. So I think the models will become commodity, but we will see a different type of tools, not necessarily generating, but more of doing harder cognitive stuff for us, like real understanding of the document, not just predicting what's the next word. Having a real overview or a full overview on a whole legislation or on a whole contract, or like getting more of holistical view.
Yeah, I think that's phenomenal. That's an amazing prediction. And like when you're talking about that, it made me think of the fact that not only will it be able to probably like really understand and give us like a great summary on something, it'll probably be able to understand where we're coming from, what we know, and give us like a personalized, like, okay, here's the legislation in the document, here's the takeaways, because you work in these areas, like here's the things that are relevant to you. You probably don't know about these things, so here's these things explained. Like it's gonna, like you said, it's gonna be so holistic and very customized and personalized. This is gonna be fascinating to see where this goes. Alexandru, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today, is sharing your insights, sharing your journeys, sharing everything that you're seeing in this space. This has been fascinating. If people are interested in getting in contact with you or trying UiPath and learning more about that, what's the best way for them to do that?
So you can check our website, uipath.com, or you can contact me through LinkedIn. I will share my credentials and with you, and hopefully we'll stay in touch.
Amazing. And to the listener, I will leave a link in the description or in the show notes to UiPath, so you can go check them out. Amazing company, like I mentioned. They're doing some incredible things and seeing some amazing growth. So really exciting stuff. Again, thanks for coming on. To the listener, thank you for tuning in to the AI Chat podcast. Make sure to rate us wherever you get your podcasts, and have a fantastic rest of your day.